Hello everyone, Baldur's Gate 3 will be releasing into 1.0 in just a few days, so I wanted to catch up with you about my plans for my Baldur's Gate 3 5th edition playthroughs. For those of you that don't know, for 2.5 years now I've been making Let's Plays in Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access. In that time I've done 11 campaigns, including themes such as Classic Good Hero, Bad Hero, solo campaigns, campaigns with no spell casting, and I even beat Early Access most recently without ever taking a long rest in an Insomnia run. Throughout these campaigns, I've maintained a series of house rules I've imposed on myself to make Baldur's Gate 3 feel a bit more like the tabletop game I know and love. Now, I want to be very clear, these are changes that I've made for me to enjoy my experience playing the game, and maybe perhaps you watching along as well. But this is not to say that my way of playing is more better or valid than anybody else's, and I'm not arguing with Larian's design choices to adapt the tabletop RPG into a CRPG in the way they have, although I would love to see a dodge action implemented, and I may mod that in myself. So these are some changes that I've made for me, but I wanted to spell them out nice and clearly here before we jump into 1.0, so without further ado, here are the house rules and choices for 1.0, subject to anything that needs to change when the actual game comes out because I haven't seen it yet. Number 1. Pseudo Iron Man rules. I won't be playing on true Iron Man mode where death is a game over and your game save is wiped and you're back to the very beginning, but I will be committing to every decision, every dice roll and every outcome as much as I can. Outside of TPKs that need a reload, my destiny is within the dice. Tactician Difficulty. With 400 hours in early access, I'll be jumping into Tactician Difficulty for the real challenge it will hopefully present. No fast travel, and rune circles are required to teleport to camp. A typical low-level party of adventurers wouldn't have fast travel to escape awkward situations, so neither will I. If I wish to camp, I must reach a rune circle and then return from camp to the same rune circle after resting. No fleeing to camp. A continuation of no fast travel, I won't be using the flee to camp mechanic to remove myself from sticky situations that I've put myself in. No sent to camp and no shared inventory. Adventurers don't typically have a magic chest to teleport stolen goods or heavy armor to, so I won't either. I also won't be passing things between the pockets of party members that are too far away to hand things to one another. No weighted dice rolls. A simple one, karmic dice will be turned off to give me that sweet RNG. Shove as an attack action. In 5th edition, shove is a type of attack action. So if I use a bonus action shove to shove a creature, I forfeit my main action or one of my attack actions with that party member. Classes can only cast spells and scrolls from their class list. In early access, and likely in 1.0, any class could cast any spell scroll. However, I only let characters that know that spell in their spell list cast those scrolls. No casting 2 leveled spells in one turn. If I cast a leveled bonus action spell such as Healing Word, I can't cast another leveled spell such as Bless with my main action. Instead, I must take a different action or use a cantrip. Initiative for all during combat. No cheesing encounters by freezing some enemies in turn-based combat with one character, while the others go around the outside of them to get to high ground or sneak up on them or go stealing stuff while the NPCs or enemies are engaged in turn-based combat. And lastly, no casting guidance in front of other people in conversation. If we were talking as strangers and then I loudly and clearly said to my friend, "I give myself or my friend magical assistance," you'd be pretty mad about it. And since spellcasting is typically clear and noticeable, I don't use guidance while in conversation with people as it wouldn't be taken kindly by typical characters in a D&D game. Now, there are other things like the Friends cantrip or the Detect Thoughts spell. I will use those because those are kind of only mechanically viable to be used during conversations, but I should be able to get through most checks without needing guidance to help me along the way. So that is how I'm going to go about things. I don't know what character my Tav is going to be yet, but I will come up with something, and there'll probably be a kind of like a roleplay theme in their actions because I don't want to metagame myself too much from my previous knowledge of Act 1. But until then, I look forward to playing with you all and having you all along for this journey. Thank you very so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.